When I left Christianity and rejected all of the man-centered authority figures and male institutions, atheism and therapy helped me realize that I don't have to accept biblical truths as a reality. So I reject biblical truths because I can't find any evidence that most of these things even happen. That's something they don't tell you. I mean, yeah, the Bible might be a history book with some things may have happened. But if you can't prove that 90% of everything in the Bible happened, where it is, and that it's based on reality, it's not infallible. And if this book was written by dozens of human beings who had limited understanding of language, the planet they lived on, and hadn't a clue about medicine, mathematics, or whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to think a book that was written before hygiene standards were created is something that is worth holding up as perfect. I mean, if you translate a book hundreds of times, there's no way that it's infallible. You can't even play the game telephone without the meaning changing. And who's to say that somebody didn't add verses to the Bible due to whatever decade and century they were in order for them to make a statement? I mean, not every biblical translation even has the same words. Some add passages and others leave it out. You're telling me that a group of misogynistic men were infallible? I don't think so. The flood has never been confirmed to have happened. Many events that would have been recorded in ancient times due to the rulers involved, there has not been any record of these important things happening. You don't think that the Romans moving millions of people around wouldn't have been written down somewhere? Or a flood never having been written down? That the most important people in a kingdom, that they would not have a record of these people having lived? I don't think so. It's not possible. It's just not possible. And when there is no evidence that any boat ever landed on Mount Ararat at any time in history, it's a belief. A belief is not a fact. It's a theory. You may or may not have reliable factual information that exists enough in order to believe something's going to happen. I mean, one of my favorite parts about watching movies is wondering which couples are going to end up with whom. And in order to have a reliable ship that people will take you seriously for, you have to have enough evidence that at least one or both people like each other. Or it's fiction. And when it comes to the Bible, I mean, there's so many things in the Bible that contradicts itself or has never been proven to have even taken place. How are we supposed to take this as infallible and trustworthy? And just because we can prove that certain cities existed and that certain people did exist does not make the Bible anything more than a historical artifact. Can you imagine that books like the Iliad and the Odyssey, that we can prove that these cities existed? Why does that not make the Iliad a supernatural, infallible book? Why does the Bible only get to claim that? If you can prove that certain places existed, certain people existed, like the Bible can occasionally, but they claim that's infallible, then what's keeping the Iliad, the Odyssey, and Shakespeare plays from claiming infallibility and divine supernatural origin? Just because you can prove that Corinth existed doesn't mean that the Bible is supernatural or perfect. writing a different version in different languages, there's no way that it's infallible. All you need is to translate a primary language into another language that doesn't have enough vocabulary and words to get a correct understanding of the words you're talking about, and you just destroyed the idea that it's infallible. Some languages don't have specific words in them. It's utter lunacy. And we're supposed to believe everything in a book that hasn't been proven to be 100% accurate? I mean, come on. We're all adults. So no, I don't reject the idea that the Bible may or may not be true. I reject that there's not enough evidence to prove that it's perfect. If you can't even translate it perfectly, how in the world are we supposed to accept that it's infallible, that it's perfect? Just because certain things can be proven to have happened or these people have lived doesn't mean it's supernatural at all. It just means it's a historical document. But it's one of many. So it just does not make sense. And somebody correct me in the comments, but it's utter lunacy. It goes against all manner of common critical thinking.